there is literally zero downside to this. He reeks of a missing piece guy for a contender.
If he's healthy, comes in here and does what he does consistently, it's going to help this team be better.
However, it is not a free agent destination, even with Cade Cunningham. Nobody wants to come here.
We gonna see, as Drake would say. That win total in Vegas is about right. There's a plan. More importantly, there's a desire. And third, there's a goal. And that goal is to do something big. As we said, we talked about it during the Open. Pistons make a trade that came across the news wires this morning. They obtained Bojan Bogdanović from the Utah Jazz for Saben Lee, Kelly Olynyk as well. On the surface, hey, Bogdanović is 33. I know a lot of people are excited about like floor spacing and shooting, and the guy's a stone cold shooter, man. Make no mistake about it. He is. He's put up 50 burgers in the past and stuff like that. 40% three-point shooter certainly is very good. I don't understand Utah's motivation for doing the deal, but I'm not paid to understand Utah's motivation for doing the deal. They're adding. Olynyk has a partial guarantee next year, so like financially, it's pretty much a wash. If anything, you're accelerating getting Olynyk off the books to this year. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Well, it's more so if you're looking from Utah's, they're dumping guys. You know, they got rid of Gobert.
Oh yeah, they're tearing it down to the studs.
So I'm asking you, draft capital, salary cap guy, Olynyk for the next few years for them. At being the guy he is with the injury, that's what they want, right? He's going to be good enough to probably put some fans in the stands or whatever like that. But this shows me that they're doing what you want every other team to do. Is that if you're going to tank. Then and they're not making any bones about it. Yeah. And I think that here's the credit to Troy Weaver and stuff like this.
This is funny. Neal doesn't know what Utah is doing. This looks like Neal Ruhl is running the Utah Jazz.
No, I don't understand why they would take a liability for next year. But then again, I didn't know the exact money of the partial guarantee for Olynyk next year. So it makes a little more sense in that because it's not a full year of salary. So I see what they're doing. We're here to talk about from the Pistons' perspective, but Utah's biggest problem is going to be how the hell do you get rid of Mike Conley and $47 million in liability for a 35-year-old point guard? They're going to have to bribe somebody to take them.
They're trying as hard as they can to get Victor Wembanyama. They're going. Oh,
they're going all in. Yeah, heavyweights. The heavyweights' favorite potential prospect in the NBA. But no, it's one of those things for me where there is literally zero downside to this. In that, if Bogdanović comes out and plays well, perfect. That helps. And I see a lot of discussion here. Is it? Shad 216 says Detroit's a 5th seed now. Philly and Atlanta fell off. Shad, easy guy. And this is what I don't want to see, guys. There are going to be some tones to next year's Pistons season that are similar to last year's, where that win total in Vegas is about right.
Yes. Well, can we pump? That's what I was going to say. Let's pump the brakes on that. And if to what you mentioned before the break, if you want to hammer the over right now because of this move before it moves over in 28.5 wins, is that what it was, or 26?
28.5. Yeah,
28.5. That's okay. That's more of the speed that we're going here. We're not. This doesn't take us over the edge. But what it does is, that I asked you, and I ask anybody, does this make our younger guys better? Will this help Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey's development moving forward? And from what Pistons talk in the back, and everybody says, yes, it will. This guy's a player. He's healthy. You're paying he's making 19 a year, so you're paying like $5 more million for a healthy guy. That can prove that he can hit it on the outside. Spence, I know this name. Mm-hmm. It came to mind when it came across the ticker because you've been talking about him when we talk Pistons in the summertime about guys that you'd like to see in this roster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another guy. It gives you the flexibility to run a smaller lineup with Saddiq Bey at the 4. You can push him down a little bit. Getting rid of Kelly Olynyk means more minutes for Jalen Duren this year, which I like to see a lot because they kind of had a logjam on that 4-5 spot. That frees up, with Marvin Bagley playing well last year. Now he'll get more minutes as well. And I like it. Like you said, Neal, he's a knockdown three-point shooter. To your point, D-Mac, it will help with the development of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey because that's another guy on the outside that can kick the ball out too, not just Saddiq Bey. So they'll have another guy out there they can kick out for an open three. I like it a lot, and yeah, I'm not ready to say fifth seed because Atlanta got a lot better. Like Atlanta's going to be a lot better than they were last year. So I don't know what he was talking about with that, but this is a good move, and it's another if things don't go right this year. Now we have 3 trade chips with Noel, with Burks, and now with Bogdanović at the trade deadline that contenders will want.
Yeah, and T-Foss, when you look at it from that perspective, there's zero downside for the Pistons, right? It's all positive outcomes. Bogdanović, if he does fall off because of age, okay, he's out of here in April. You know what I'm saying? April or May, whatever the season comes to an end. But at the same time, as Spence said, he becomes a flippable trade piece if the season, if you are a 28 to 32-ish win team, you have something that you can move now that a veteran team will covet. Bogdanović, he reeks of a missing piece guy for a contender. You know what I'm saying?
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the Stan Van Gundy era. When the big era here with the Pistons, Stan Van Gundy always talked about needing shooters. He loves shooters. And my question with him, how come we always bring in guys who can't shoot? So this is the guy that Stan Van Gundy was searching for and could never find. But he doesn't have to get old in 1 year. I mean, all he's got to do is shoot. He doesn't have to handle the ball. He doesn't have to, the Pistons don't even have to set screens for him. They have Kate penetrate or Jaden Ivey penetrate, and they got another piece to look at.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. It's sort of the win-win because if he's going to help you on your floor with your younger guys, but then maybe this is the start of maybe Troy Weaver's sort of rental, sort of tryout period to see if, as the team develops. But if the team's not developed and the younger guys haven't developed to the point, then you still have an asset to get rid of to make your team better. So, I mean, I don't see the downside. And I think that's what we were talking about, Neal, is like, what happened? Because we're all looking at this going that this is the Pistons win this trade by a landslide. And you're always looking for the shoe to fall on the other foot, but right now it doesn't seem to. So if he's healthy, comes in here and does what he does consistently, it's going to help this team be better. How much better? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and here's Terry, and I figured you probably hated the deal, right? Because it accelerated cap space and you hate money and you can't stand salary cap space. But I'll just say it, and then I'll hide behind the desk after I say it so you don't throw anything at me. In 23-24, after this upcoming season, right, the Pistons will have effectively $65 to $70-ish million in cap space. And look, I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're pre-programmed to say. Detroit's not a destination. You're not going to be a factor in free agent signings and things like that. But you can have the discussion. You can have the discussion.
Well, first of all, I'm a professional. I'm not going to throw anything at you.
Got you.
And I understand cap space in the NBA is very important. Bravo. But it's However, it is not a free agent destination. Even with Cade Cunningham, nobody wants to come here. So we'll see.
Yeah, but we will see, and that's
we gonna see.
We gonna see, as Drake would say. It's one of those things for me, D-Mac, where he is given full ability to stay massively nimble financially, and he just the show goes on with Troy Weaver. Like, here's what I like about it. Now, I was texting with a couple of my the Piston elite buddies earlier this morning when the trade went down. There is a clear plan with Steve Yzerman, with Troy Weaver. That's the thing that excites me. And you don't have to be a basketball savant to see what they're doing here. You know what they're doing. There's a plan. More importantly, there's a desire. And third, there's a goal. And that goal is to do something big. As I always talk about, the second they won the lottery and got Cade Cunningham, in the back of your mind, you don't talk about it or anything like that, but the clock starts ticking. And you got to move.
How can it not? Because you have that piece, if you believe.
Right.
And then you see him play and you go out. And this, like Troy Weaver and Steve Yzerman are operating, similarly, right? And here's the one thing that with this trade is that Troy Weaver saw an opportunity to make his team better, and also too, with the win-win, usually you have to give something to gain something. This is what great GMs do. It's sort of like Steve Eisman when he makes the trade and then gives you a couple dollars and takes back draft picks, and boom, next thing you know, you've traded 2 third-rounders that you've acquired for your starting goaltending crew, and Ville Husso and Nedeljkovic. So you know what I'm saying? Like, these are what, if I'm looking in the chat and it's saying Troy Weaver's a top 5 GM and Steve Eisman's hailed. Well, this is top 5 GM moves, right? These are what they do, not just the Melba toast, the rate on board. Well, the GM's got to do this or sign this and draft this and decide on this player. No, goes out there and sees the opportunity by other teams, right? Utah, the perfect storm. You weren't going to get this before, and you probably won't get this after, but you were there to utilize, and you had something to offer. That's the thing, Neal.
Right.
You were in the conversation because you wanted to be. That's where Steve Eisman and Troy Weaver are different. If they want to be in a conversation throughout the league, whether it's the NHL or the NBA, they're in it.
Yeah.
And the other key thing here is, what does Jaden Ivey and what does Kate Cunningham need?
Shooters.
Yeah.
Shooters
Yes, they need shooters, but they need shooters when they get in the lane, get in trouble, can't finish. Mm-hmm. Then they need to find somebody on the secondary market, and that's what they got here.
Right, absolutely. And it's hedged. This is what I always talk about, D-Mac. Like, when I give you the Saturday night get right,
yes,
and the team goes up 17 points in the second quarter, and I text you guys, I say, hey, if I were doing this, we're hedging the initial investment right now, so there's only positive outcomes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it.
That's where you have to look at it. And that's the thing when you're comparing it, is what Steve Eisman that you brought to my attention is what he does in moving money around, getting draft. Because you know what? You picked up a 3rd rounder, or a 2nd rounder, or a 4th rounder. You don't think it really means something? Oh, it means a lot of things because it allows you, to play more in your recipe of what you're trying to build in your team.
Now, D-Mac, give us the scoop. Did Steve Eisman hire Troy Weaver?
He hired every other GM in this town, right?
No, that was that's the one thing you got to give. We crapped on Tom Gores and whatever else, but you know what? Whoever made that decision in there, Troy Weaver was the guy. No, Scott Harris, yes. Troy Weaver, no.
Right, absolutely.
He would have hired him. That's what I'm saying. But he would have. Great question, Terry, because it seems like he would have hired him.
It seems like all the GM stuff, we don't know about the Tiger GM yet, or / president. We don't know about him yet, but it seems like everybody else is cut from the same cloth.
Right, absolutely.